Hey everybody, I'm Mike Sullivan with Born to Shine. Today we have a super special guest. She is a rock star. Her name is Zandra Jo Galvan, and she is the superintendent at Greenfield Union School District in Greenfield, California. So Zandra, thank you
Yes.
so much for making time for us today and sharing your wisdom and experience with us.
Pleasure to be here, Mike. Thank you so much for asking me to be here.
For sure. And you know what? The that cool sign behind you, can you kind of tell us what that's about? That looks really cool.
Absolutely. So this here, so I've been the superintendent in Greenfield for 5 years, and so I'll show you the whole thing. This is a canvas, which is a heart wordle, and then we rebranded with All Means All. So what we do in Greenfield is if we bring in any programs or products for one kid, we bring them for every single kid to have the opportunity. So when you look at this, it's All Means All, which signifies what we do for one, we're going to do for all kids. And so if we bring in Legos, everyone gets to touch a Lego. If we're taking them to a college trip, everybody's going to a university trip. And then things that are really important to us is college and career ready. Want to make sure they have post-secondary success. Students are always at the core of every decision that we make when we put our money. We want to make sure we put our money where our mouth is. Data driven because we look at data both social, emotionally, and academic wise. You'll see culture, community, passionate people who are driving all of the wonderful things here in Greenfield, and then high levels, because the high level is both social emotional support. We're going to do that at a high level, and then the academic rigor is going to be at a high level too. So yeah, we put this together. All of these words are from our vision and our mission statement that we co-labored my very first year 5 years ago. And so yeah, that's what it is. And super colorful, and this, like I said, it's just free. These are our beautiful lettuce fields. We live in the rich Salinas Valley agricultural. So this is actually a picture of fields outside of our
Nice.
school district with some
Cool.
nice little rolling hills in the back.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
beautiful. And
Yeah.
I love how inclusive it is, Sandra, that I think earlier you were even mentioning that you don't predetermine who needs what. You just all for all. So maybe,
Everything. Yep.
and
Yeah. And
especially,
so that's the thing. We don't want to predetermine anyone's success. We want to give them every single opportunity, every single experience, so that at the end of the line, if they want to go the college route, we've prepared them. If they want to go the career technical route, absolutely as well. But the choice will be theirs. We
that's
will
so,
make sure that we prepared them. And another hashtag we have is the Greenfield Guarantee. So we're going to guarantee a viable curriculum between preschool and then when they leave us.
oh, that's amazing. That's cool.
Yeah.
I haven't met any district that has a guarantee. That's pretty awesome. And you know, it's so interesting too. I love the all means all, especially for their mental health and their SEL skills, their social emotional learning skills, because oftentimes with anxiety and depression, it's invisible. We can't
Hmm.
see it. 99% of the time, kids don't feel comfortable enough to talk about it or to
Right.
ask for help, or they feel shame. So it's so cool. I love all means all. I just think that's so
Yeah.
awesome. Very
Yeah,
cool.
I'd love to talk about what you just mentioned about just dismantling all of that fear about going for mental health. Like that's such a critical place. And culturally, sometimes people within cultures, it's a stigma to have to go ask for help when your mental health is not at par. But we'll go when we break our foot, when we break our finger, when our back hurts, we'll quickly run to a doctor to help us. But we don't run to the doctor when we have mental issues. That's it's shameful sometimes. And so here in Greenfield, we do have a community, predominantly, and I'm part of it. You know, I'm a Latina, and within our culture, sometimes we don't want to show that vulnerability that we need that, but it's okay. And so we have counselors at every school. In fact, two of our schools has two counselors because they have more kids, and those counselors support with daily mindfulness, daily tier one instruction, which is what all kids get. So the all means also all kids get mindfulness and mental health exercises every morning before they start their academic, just to center themselves. It's like
Awesome.
self-awareness, self-regulation
Yes.
before you access the heavy academic content. And so it's really important. And then when our counselors go in and our teachers notice things, that's when we move them into some support services in tier two or tier three. And our counselors step in. We've also this year hired social workers to
Great.
come in just because
Great.
COVID unveiled a lot of hidden things, as you said. And so there's things that are happening behind the scenes that you'll notice behaviors with adults and with children. And you have to just reach out and say, hey, how you doing? Mike, how are you doing today? You know, everything okay? How's the family? And it's that relationship piece when you sit down and you truly listen to someone, you start understanding perspective. We never want to make assumptions about anyone on what, you know, I can't project my life on you. You can't project it on me. We just have to take people from where they are and help support them the best that we can through services and support.
That's so beautiful, Zandra. I love that. And it's helping students and staff feel seen, feel heard, and feel loved. That's what you guys are doing, and
Absolutely.
that's so powerful. It's all about, hey, Xander, how you doing? How's your family doing?
Yeah.
What's new in your life? It's the same thing. Or hey, Billy, hey, Jimmy, hey,
Yep.
whoever it is, how are you doing? I love how you guys do that before every morning. So before they dive into the academics, because
Yeah.
so many studies have shown that kids that are struggling with anxiety or depression, their study ability diminishes
Mm,
dramatically because their mind is focused on all of the struggles instead of the task. So you
exactly.
guys are way ahead of the curve. That's so
Yeah.
beautiful that you're nurturing their mental health and emotional health, and then they can go into the academics. So it's just
And
so cool.
absolutely. And we have to remember that they're children.
Hmm.
Whether they're in middle school, high school, they're still children. They may be youth, but they're still children that they're navigating this world and trying to figure out how to do things. And so I always talk to our teacher teams too, and they look at a child and or anyone who's misbehaving. And we flip the narrative and I tell them to when a kid misbehaves, rather than jumping to discipline them and to like punish, to think about the phrase, please help me. Just help me. If you hear a child, if you see them acting out, and flip the narrative and say that they're asking for help,
Yeah.
then you want to jump in and help support them because it's coming from a place of how can I support you in navigating this journey that we don't know what caused you to act that way. Something causes all of us to act a certain way. And when we're not happy or we're not 100% ourselves in a positive frame, something did that to us. And so it's really about why and then uncovering the why to get to a better place. And so if we look at the lens of discipline through how can they're asking for help, how can I now jump in and come from a place of just seeking to understand.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. I think you just hit the nail on the head. It's all about empathy, and you guys are doing that. You're meeting and matching them where they are instead of coming in with a heavy hammer and sending them to detention or expelling them. You're coming in with support.
For
I
sure.
feel your pain. I know you're struggling. Help me. Help me understand.
Yeah.
Where are you? How can we support you even better?
Mm-hmm.
That builds that trust, and they're like, whoa, is my teacher really saying this? How cool are they? How cool is
Yeah.
she? Yeah. And then they feel safe. So that's awesome. That's so great that you guys are doing that.
Yeah.
Well, this is really cool. I'm loving it. Well, can you share maybe some of your background and how you became a rock star superintendent? How does that happen? What's your story? If you're open to share it.
Yeah, so super interesting story. There's probably not a ton of us superintendents, but I'm actually a homegrown superintendent. So I attended the schools that I now get to lead.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Cool.
so when I
Very
walked
cool.
through classrooms, I was a kindergartner in the same classrooms that I'm now walking through as the superintendent. So that's a pretty
Yeah,
good
that's cool.
deal.
Yeah.
So more than anything, like I want to support kids with meeting whatever that post-secondary success and that choice is. But the extra part that's passionate for me and that's really in my heart is I am a product of Greenfield schools. And so if I can do it, you can do it. And when I get to go
Mhm.
into classrooms and talk about college and career and talk about my job, it's super an honor, and also a responsibility because I want our kids to see that anything's possible if they put their mind to it. Like, don't ever let anyone tell you no, because we'll have some people along the journey that is going to say no. And I'll tell you, I had a few counselors, that said, oh, no, maybe you don't want to do that. And I just kind of looked at them. I said, okay, thanks for your advice. And I walked away because I was a confident young girl and said, I'm going to do it anyways. And so we do it in spite of people, but we hope that we do it with the support of people, right? And so I tell our kids, like, don't ever let anyone dim your light. Don't ever let anyone tell you that you can't, because you absolutely can. And it's just a matter of getting the support to make it happen. And so in my county, Monterey County, I'm one, actually, there's three Latina superintendents in our entire county. We have about 24 districts. And so we're very few, but my representation of students within my community are predominantly Latino. And so I want them to see that absolutely. And then of course the young little girls that we want to impress, to say like, wow, if she can do it, I can do it, because we tell them that and we reinforce it through our actions. And so that's exciting for me. So yes, I grew up here, got to, go to school, left school, came back when I was a teacher here. Very first year teaching was actually another neighboring town was during the summer, but then I did full year of teaching here in Greenfield. Then I went away for a little bit and was an administrator for 10 years in a different district, and then got to come back 5 years later, or 5 years, I've been here 5 years back. And so that's really cool. And so just culturally and relationships, you mentioned that earlier about, some of my core values and, why is this and all those kinds of things. And so for me, my core value is relationships. I'm super relationship driven, and emotional intelligence is something that I really lean in on a lot. Did it before COVID, but during COVID, oh my gosh, like people needed that psychological safety just as much as they needed the physical safety. Like they needed to know that we cared about them and that they would follow where I was going to take them as their leader. That was really important to me. And so that trust, we talked about trust a little bit, is really important, but also a core value as I'm not going to let you fail, kind of a mantra. How can I support you? And we're going to take collective responsibility for all of our success. Those are a couple of our core values that we also have. So we have a vision and mission statement. We have a strategic plan on a one sheet, and on there are core values that we hold really close to our heart, that our board of trustees has deemed as important, and our faculty and everyone within our Greenfield family believe is important. And so we bring those out and we talk through them. Like when I say I'm not going to let you fail, what does that mean? It means I'm going to step in if I see that you're struggling. That means if your family, somebody died of COVID, I'm going to step in and I'm going to do your lesson plans for you. Like, don't even worry about it. Go take care of you. If I see someone struggling because, of a loss or just not knowing what to do, and if they're scared, then I'm going to give you grace and flexibility, and I'm going to help support you because I know you're going to reciprocate that same behavior and actions for me. And so that is the culture that I kind of have been able to develop together with our teams. And so it's just a given. And so Greenfield, I'm super passionate about because I grew up here, got to teach, here, came back. And when I came back, the cool thing is that I was welcomed, I was received with open arms. And why? Because of that relationship piece. I'm the same gal that I was when I was a kid, when I was a teacher. Like that, a title doesn't change. It should not change who you are. And if a title changes who you are, then you're probably in the wrong business, because I'm still a servant leader and still driven by relationships. I still say hi to everyone. And if the state superintendent Thurman was to come in, and a wonderful janitor that cleaned my room my very first year teaching, guess what? I'm going to treat you the same. I'm going to treat you exactly the same, because you both deserve that human dignity and respect. And so that's what I try to lead within our district.
That's beautiful. Wow, that was incredible. There were so many little nuggets in there that were, I love it. Like not letting anyone dim your light. And we've got your back no matter what. I did it, so you can too. I mean, you're really an incredible leader, Zandra. And it's nice because they get to see you. They get to see you. You went to the same schools. You grew up in that area, and now you're running it. So that's such a talk about modeling at its highest level. They're watching you do it, and so that's really incredible. Well, you're very welcome. No, thank you. And is there any advice that you would like to share with other districts? Some things that are working really well for your schools that you just like to share, and maybe other districts are doing it as well, but maybe some aren't. Is there maybe one or two things that you think, wow, this is really helping our kiddos a lot?
Yeah, so I would say that social emotional learning and really the wellness piece is so important, and it's all facets, all levels of individuals. So scholars, absolutely. We want to make sure that our scholars are taken care of, and which is why it's so important that we do mindfulness kind of lessons every day and just check in on them, and breathing techniques they're used to, they visualize a lot of different things. That's important. But I also want to take care of our families in our community, and our teaching staff, and our faculty and our support family, that cafeteria, maintenance, all of them are so important to making sure they're centered. And so we're starting things within our district that'll help support them. And so we surveyed them and said, what do you need as the adults? We know we're doing some things for our kiddos, and so they wanted some health and fitness classes. So what did we do? We're hiring instructors to come in the morning. before, they can come on in and get some fitness classes free. The district's going to cover that.
Cool.
So free to our staff members. And then also we're going to do that in the evening as well. Just because they said COVID did a lot to me and it made me more sedentary. We were in front of Zooms forever. And so I would advise, like, just think about how can you take care of your people? What are some simple things that you do? We do social events, but right now we're kind of at a pause with, that number of people in a space. But the social events allow them to really connect with each other. And then some of the wellness and the fitness types of things is really important. And the other advice I would just emphasize is just checking in on people, checking in on them. And then never do I make decisions unilaterally. I could, right? Because I have the title and I can do that, but I never do. I always ask, and I get the temperature, and I'm a good listener and trying to figure out what is it that's out there that is causing people to have a little bit of angst. And
Mm.
so with that, then I'm able to better equip myself with some decisions and our team as we move forward. So really be a good listener and continue to develop those relationships. And when people tell you things that they might need, try to put it out, try to create an action and a response to be able to support them.
That's incredible. Xander, thank you so much for being a part of
Mm.
this today and sharing all of your incredible knowledge and what's working and what's helping not only your students, but your staff and your parents, the entire community. So thank you so much for what you do. And thank you for sharing some of your time with us today.
Absolutely. My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. And I look forward to seeing where this goes.